Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Robbie.
And I'm Liam.
And it's the sequel that no one expected was going to come 10 years after the original one, which was a monster hit. We have the new Mamma Mia. Here we go again.
Typical, isn't it? You wait 20 years for a dad and then 3 come along at once.
You're my mom, and I love you so much.
Time has been most cruel to you, sir. In your case, age becomes you, as it does the tree, the wine, and cheese.
Look into his angel eyes. Look and you're hypnotized. Don't
I can do this.
into those angel eyes.
If I can just be as brave as my mom was back then.
Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again was directed by Ol Parker and it stars Lily James, Amanda Seyfried, Meryl Streep, Cher, Pierce Brosnan, Stellan Skarsgård, Colin Firth, the list goes on and on and on. This is a huge cast.
Very big cast, very big ensemble.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's set.
Okay, so the plot is going to be a bit hard to see.
Yeah.
If you know nothing about this movie, maybe don't watch this review just yet, because there's one plot
I'd say
point
so.
that is very heavily hinted at in the trailers, which most people I think are aware of, but just for the sake of spoilers, well, this is a non-spoiler review. There's one thing. So if you want to go in blind, skip this review for now. Come back later on. But with that said, the plot.
The plot, yes. So basically, Amanda Seyfried character, she has now taken over the hotel.
Yeah.
Because her mother, played by Meryl Streep, has passed away. That's the detail that's sort of being hidden. But basically, the story is her, getting ready to do the opening ceremony of her new hotel, which is in her mother's honor. But it's also telling the story of her mother, who is played by Lily James. And really, when it comes down to it, that's sort of the heart of the movie.
Yeah, it's half sequel, half prequel, really.
It's the Godfather Part 2 of musicals. And yeah, it's pretty good. I don't mind it.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I am so surprised. I did really, really like the first one. It was corny and so cheesy, but I had a lot of fun with the first one. But I did not know where they could go with this one. And then I found out that Meryl Streep was hardly in it. I thought, okay, obviously they haven't done all the greatest hits in the first one, but they've done a lot of them.
Most of them.
What else can they do apart from just using the lesser-known ABBA songs that only the die-hard fans would be really happy to hear? I had no expectations for this. And watched it, and half an hour into it, I was so hooked. And by the end, I just loved it. It floored me. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, man, that's good. I just sort of liked it. There were some things that it did really well. I think it had some very fun musical sequences. And the song choices that they had were great.
It's a great soundtrack.
Yeah. I wasn't a fan of when they redid songs that they did in the first movie, but
at the same time, you can't do Mamma Mia and not do Mamma Mia in the song.
It's called Mamma Mia.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
And they only really reprise 2 or 3 songs.
Yeah.
And
it's not a big thing, but it is a thing.
Mamma Mia, obviously they sing Dancing Queen again, which you currently again not do Dancing Queen. They do Super Trooper, but not actually in the film. It's kind of like the curtain call kind of thing at the end.
Oh yeah, it is.
So that was fine.
Big disco.
But the main bulk of the film is a lot of new songs. There was a couple of songs that were meant to be in the original that got deleted, like Name of the Game, a couple ones like that. But apart from that, yeah, I can't think of any other song that was really repeated from the first one.
Yeah.
So, okay. Comparing the first and second one, I actually prefer this one to the first one. The reason being, The first one I think had a more solid story. It was more intriguing, you know, working out which of the three dads is her real
Yeah.
dad. That was really fun, kind of like guessing and everything like that. So the story here is not as strong. Not that it's a bad story. It's just the prequel. Obviously, we know the prequel aspect of we know exactly how it's going to unfold,
Yeah, well,
and
that's true.
the sequel bit doesn't really have much of a story. It's more of a nostalgia kind of like trip down memory lane kind of thing. Remembering Meryl Streep and everything like that.
Yeah.
And it's really touching. They do it very well. But there isn't this intriguing story that the first one had. Having said that, the first one, in terms of everything else, I think does not do it as well as this.
Okay.
The songs are all... They're ABBA. They're great. They're great songs. First and second movie. But I think the choreography here was vastly superior. The filmmaking as a whole, you can see it was directed by someone who knows filmmaking compared to the first one. The first one was directed by Philida Lloyd, and nothing against her. She did a good job, but she was from the stage show.
Oh,
That-
okay.
that was
was
a-
she?
That was her first movie she'd ever directed.
Yeah.
And she directed like a stage show, which works. But at the same time, it's a movie.
Yeah.
You need to direct it like a film.
Yeah, for sure. When you're making an adaptation. You know.
And I think there was some lines of dialogue that were horrible in the first one. So forced. Some of the songs were really shoehorned in there for the sake of shoehorning them in there. This one had a much nicer flow to it, I thought. The dialogue, there was still one or two lines where you're kind of like, ew, that's a bit cringy. But nothing on the level of the first one.
Yeah.
The acting, both of them were great. But I think the acting in this one was far more natural. Again, that's probably down to the directing. And I just think it was a much stronger film as a whole.
Yep.
Even though the story was lesser.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I actually haven't seen the first one, as you know, but
You've seen the stage show.
I've seen the
So
stage
you know the
show.
story.
So I know the story of the first one, but when it comes down to technical aspects, I can't really compare the first and second film. I've seen clips of the first one, and Pierce's singing is awful. It's just dreadful. And he's a bit better in this one.
He sings in this, but he's given a more subdued singing, which suits
Yeah.
his voice.
Yeah, for sure.
He's given a more... Well,
He-
there's one
he's
bit...
he's
where-
on the verge of tears, so like he
Yeah.
can sort of cover it up with that whole the sobbing
Yeah,
thing, you know.
that bit really got to me a bit, actually.
Yeah.
But, okay, so... The prequel, a whole aspect of it. So we've got Lily James, and I can't remember the other two actresses' names, I'm
Okay.
sorry. But we've got the two younger versions of Julie Walters and Christine Baranski, who I thought were cast very well.
Yeah, no. Spitting image.
Christine Baranski especially is literally a spitting image. My one little nitpick, and it's literally a nitpick, is Lily James I think looks nothing like Meryl Streep, but she's got the attitude, which is what matters.
Yeah. Yeah, when it came down to it, though, I think they cast her for the talent.
Exactly.
Hopefully, I'd like to think,
Yeah.
you know, because
She is talented. She is
Yeah.
very good.
she really carries a lot of the film.
She's definitely the standout.
Because, like you said, the story of this film's kind of weak. Oh well, you didn't say it was weak, but you know, I think
It's lesser. Yeah.
I think it's kind of a bit weak, but they take the strong aspect or potential from the first film and, you know, expand upon it in the second film, in the parts that are prequel. And those parts were very much the strong points of the film.
Yeah.
More enjoyable.
I was a little bit worried going into it with the cutting back and forth between past and present. I was scared it was gonna be too jarring at times. But I thought as a whole, there were a couple of times when I thought that cut it was a bit too early or too late.
I agree with that. I think that in the beginning of the film it was a bit more jarring.
Yeah, and then the film gets into its pace much better in the second and third act. And there's one bit in particular where you see Lily James walking through an area that's important to her character.
Yeah.
At the same time as the characters in the present are doing the same thing, and you're seeing kind of like the mirroring of the two timelines, and that was really, really nicely done.
Yeah, it was very good. That part was very, very
Yeah.
good. I don't know. I just sort of, you know, I didn't mind the film.
No.
I thought it was pretty good. It was a fun time at the cinema.
The one thing I gotta say is, I mean, I knew this going in. I think a lot of people know this. But if you go in expecting Meryl Streep and Cher, Meryl Streep in particular is really a cameo.
Yeah.
She has one scene towards the end. Cher has a bigger role, not much bigger, but she still has a meatier role. I thought she was good. I mean, it's Cher. She's not a. I mean, she did do good acting in the past, but she obviously hasn't done it in a long time.
She's not an
But-
actress. She's
but-
there because
But oh, wow, her voice has not gone. It is still there. And Andy Garcia, I forgot Andy Garcia. He's in this movie.
yeah.
And I always love seeing Andy Garcia in movies. He's great. But I think in the present day timeline, the way they had Kristen Baranski and Julie Walters interacting with Amanda Seyfried was really touching. How they didn't really milk the whole mourn your mother thing, but it's there.
Yeah.
They bring it up when it's needed to.
It was more subtle than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah. Again, down to a better writer, I reckon.
Yeah.
Because Ol Parker, who wrote... Ol Parker, he's the one who's responsible for the 2 Best Exotic Marigold Hotel films,
Oh.
which I think were really, really, really solid films. And Richard Curtis is actually co-story writer of the film. And Richard Curtis also did Love Actually, About Time. And that's actually one thing I want to bring up. The film really deals with... While it's a big, fun, joyous film, it definitely deals with death and mortality.
Yeah.
Themes that Richard Curtis tends to deal with a lot. That's probably his little touch in the film. But, yeah.
I mean, I guess this film sort of had an advantage over the first one in the fact that it's not an adaptation.
Yeah.
It's not...
It's got free reign to do whatever it wants.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas the adaptation of the first film, it had to be the stage show just for a movie. So it had a bit more freedom
Yeah, definitely.
in that regard.
Yeah. So, jumping in star ratings, what are you giving it?
I'm giving it a very strong 2.5. That's not bad. I just,
Average.
thought it was completely average. It had a lot of fun moments. Some things I just didn't agree with, I guess. And, it was nothing special to me, but a very enjoyable time.
Yeah. I like I said, going in, I didn't have any expectations. I gave the first one 4 stars. This one I was expecting 3.5 at best. But I am so happy to be proven wrong. I love this movie. I'm giving it 4.5 stars. I laughed. I felt like dancing. I cried in the film, which I really did not expect. It was fantastic. I loved it.
Just one look and I can hear a bell ring. One more look and I can hear a girl sing. Whoa, Mamma mia, here I go again. My, how can I resist?
She wasn't scared. She could do it because she wasn't alone.
My, just
She had me.
missed you. Yes, I've
We can't tell anybody about the baby yet.
I just told Bill.
Yeah, and I told Harry. I told many, many people.
why did I ever let you go? Mamma mia, here I go again.
Let's get the party started.
Grandma, you weren't invited.
That's the best kind of party, little girl.
I should not have let you go.
Anyway, guys, those are our thoughts on Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. If you liked our review, please make sure to let us know. Let us know what you thought of the film. And keep an eye out for our first installment of the Jaws series, Jaws, which we will be doing soon. Until then, we'll see you at the movies.